Every other vote.
And you gotta admit, the dude that was coming down the aisle, he was kind of cute. I'd have carried him on my shoulder.
Here we are. Welcome once again to Trekkers Delight.
Like, literally, my mic falls down just as we go live. Hi, everybody.
Who you gonna be?
The captain of the Enterprise Z.
Love that baseball and the teacup. Like, clearly, TNG DS9 fans.
Man, that we see power rates at some point in this season.
What is going on?
Power has shit to do with the power rates.
No, everybody, this is actually one of the main screenwriters for Prodigy, so we are super excited to hear from you. And
No one
also,
listen.
I'm a little embarrassed for being as critical.
Man, I really love that intro.
This was a nice touch.
Can we take a minute to thank
And we
Kirk
are-
Franklin for that banger song?
Yeah, everybody
Featuring Mary and Mary.
banger, but
And now we're recording.
No, I don't appreciate about Kirk Franklin. Why are your pants so tight, big bro?
You said what?
Why
Now
are
we're recording.
Franklin for a supposedly straight Christian man? Your pants are absurdly tight, like Atlanta teen
Because
giant.
that's not a straight Christian man, bro.
He has a wife and kids.
That's not straight.
That is
Okay,
not
no,
so
he's
accurate.
a straight Christian man, brother.
we support him in his identity.
Somewhat.
Who are we supporting? I mean,
Kirk
yes,
Franklin?
who?
I don't know
Actually,
how
no,
we
what's
got
Kirk
here.
Franklin? He be getting on his kids.
No, he don't be
Huh?
beating up his kids. His kids just complain
He
about
what?
Oh, okay.
We do not believe that.
Allegedly.
Thank you,
Allegedly.
thank you.
Allegedly.
There's-
All right,
You know what
everybody,
you're doing.
welcome
I like the
to
music,
the
sir.
first
Keep your hands
episode
on
of
your kids, sir.
LGBTrek that we've recorded in forever. We are sliding in by the skin of our teeth into Pride Month. Yeah, it's only barely, but we did make it. So happy Pride to everybody, and we are going to take a look right now at LGBT representation in Star Trek Discovery, as you can see here. Although I don't know why John Cho is on a Discovery episode, but sure, I'll go with it.
He made his appearance in there. Somewhere.
So, all right, who wants to start?
So are we going?
Not it.
Do we want to go by plot, or like couple by couple?
Let's go
I think
episode
we're gonna
by
go couple
episode.
by couple because, like, if we talk about plot, then we're gonna get into like some weird death shit and like how. And I think if we're going to talk about burying your gays as a trope in Star Trek, that's its own episode.
Whoa.
Okay, so couple number one.
Yes,
Our
yes.
favorite.
We're
Because
starting
this is
out
a
with a
marriage.
middle.
This is a marriage, and what I love about it is that it's not a gay marriage. It's not a straight marriage. It's just a marriage. It is two people who have decided that they are going to be a couple, and they are making it work. And to be perfectly honest, that's not something we see on Star Trek a whole lot.
Agreed. I feel like every marriage we get or every relationship has to either come from some huge tragedy or has to be like have a tragic background. I'm thinking of the comparisons between Beverly Crusher and Picard and oh god, who?
Oh, what's her nuts? That only lasted like one episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the woman. Yeah, but it's
I mean,
always-
it was a great episode, and it was lovely, and I should remember her name, but I don't.
exactly. It was those whatever the fires were. I can't remember. But everybody seems to always come back to some type of tragedy or be rooted in tragedy. I kind of liked here that we did get a backstory that was based upon like a tragedy or some weird connection. It was just like they're married. Let's move on.
Yes. Now, I mean, to be fair, we do get a fair amount of tragedy because, as I mentioned, with the burying your gays trope, I mean, Hugh Culber dies.
Yes.
But what sets Discovery apart from, I think, most of the other series in franchise installments is that Discovery expects him to deal with it and shows us how he deals with it and how his husband deals with it. Because Star Trek has not been great about dealing with grief. We might get an episode here and there. I'm thinking of Dark Page. And then we never talk about it again.
Well, we also in Deep Space Nine we get Cisco's first episode, which is kind of literally littered with grief. But it was all of a sudden it was like, oh, okay, he's good. he's ready to take over in the space station.
I mean, to be fair, he spends a lot of time shouting in that first series.
I
mean, bless Avery Brooks. I'm pretty sure that's because he wasn't he's accustomed to being a stage actor, and so he wasn't really super sure where the microphones were or how much they picked up. But like everybody else is talking at a normal level, unlike my triple. Everybody else is talking at a normal level, and then like Cisco's over here screaming, and you're like,
right. I love one of my favorite lines from him is, "This isn't a debate." And so, like, everyone looks up, and then Garrick is the only one that does this, like, sassy side eye and is like, "Girl, calm down. I was already with you on killing all these people. Daddy, chill." But
Garrick, I think, needs to be his own episode as well.
Yeah. So I do have a question. So, mainly because I haven't been married, and I'm pretty sure no one has died for a long time and then came back a different person to where their marriage is like over for about 6 episodes. So what was that all about?
I actually struggled to hear you. I'm sorry.
Are you talking about the plot point of Culver dying, or
yes,
the why they brought him back, or kind of the whole arc revolving there?
Well, here's the thing. I don't really question why they brought him back, because they already filmed and shot all of season 1 in one go. So it was already there.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm asking about is like, why the plot choice of separating them as if they almost like they broke up, and almost didn't say they broke up, but it seemed like they broke up, almost like Neelix and Cass. Like I was kind of wondering like what's going on. Like why are they? I'm not expecting them to be all like Lucy, lovey dovey, but more like why so strong in like they broke up. Does that make sense? Because they were not. So they were nothing.
I mean, that tends to happen when a partner dies.
Right, when a partner dies.
I think are you referencing kind of the weird interaction that they had when Culver came back? And it was kind of like this weird like dynamic of like, where does he fit before they kind of normalize their relationship? But I think
dude, he died.
Yeah. And so like Stamens still, I think they kind of had showed Stamens as at the beginning of season 2 as kind of saying like, hey, I've accepted this. Like, I'm good here. I recognize my partner died. And then it's like this shock of like he comes back. But Culver was not there. And he wasn't ready to deal with his own grief of literally dying.
Right. And
what
the
that
thing
meant for
is
him.
that and building on top of that, I don't mean to interrupt you, but like building on top of that, remember Culver's experience of this death period was not fun. Because Culver was experiencing a tremendous. I mean, I think he was being hunted all the time. So I mean, the man is at his wit's end, right? Like by the time he gets back to the Discovery, so there's trauma all over the place. Like, I mean, they didn't just have issues; they had the Library of Congress periodical section at that point. Right? So. So Culver is dealing with the fact that, Culver is vaguely aware that he died because he hasn't really had the chance to process it because he came back and then something was trying to kill him. And so he's been, just in survival mode. And then Younes is having to have this whole situation by the fact that his husband is apparently Jesus. And that's weird. So, I mean, how would it not be weird? That's my question to you.
I don't know how that ended weird. I expected the weird dynamic. I thought for a while that they were going to like actually break them up and end their whole relationship altogether. I really thought, and I think it would have made a lot of sense in the actual story arc. But for the sake of gay marriage, I am glad that they kept them together and really showed them fighting through the actual battle and really getting to the point of finding a common ground and a way to move forward together as a unit. And I really think that part of that bridging process was them kind of coming together to support Adira in her journey to not only be an officer, but find her own self and find her own voice.
So they had a baby to save the marriage?
Well, we'll see what happens in season 7.
Right. I mean, that is. I generally am not a big fan of having a baby to save the marriage because that's just not a good idea. But I think it was very. I actually think going through this emotional upheaval was really important for Stamets' character because remember, season 1 Stamets is an asshole, just an asshole. And he's self-absorbed. He doesn't play well with others, and when he loses Culber, we were talking before we started filming about the necessity. Let me try that again. Necessity of having a support system, and Stamets had effectively lost his. And I think that's part of why they made the decision to remove Culber, because Stamets needed some sort of kickstart for his emotional growth. Because if he'd had Culber forever, I think we would have been stuck with asshole Stamets far longer.
Or they would have had to introduce a divorce. And for the sake of gay marriage, we appreciate it.
Right.
The gays can
gay marriage and black fatherhood. Here we are.
Right.
But you're right. But one of the things I really deeply love about how they portrayed Culber and Stamets is my favorite scene is actually the scene of them brushing their teeth together. That's all they're doing.
This is a really good scene. I forgot about that.
Pajamas.
I'm sorry?
The beautiful red pajamas. Yes.
Yes. Would kill it for those jammies. They look super comfy, by the way.
Hold on. I think Max was about to slide in here really quickly.
No, I was just saying that was a really good scene. I liked it.
I mean, it's phenomenal because it's so domestic and so normal and so relatable for everyone. And that, I think, is the scene where they really, really communicate effectively that this is just a marriage, right? And that's the point, right? Is that gay marriage is marriage. It's just letting people get married who couldn't before. Now, if we could then, in the United States at least, fix the disability issue so that they can get married, that would be great. This is LGBTrek. We can get a little political here.
I feel like we always get political, so it's all right. But Star Trek has never been political in and of itself.
No.
Never.
Also, women aren't allowed to watch or like Star Trek. Forgot about that. So my bad. I'm gonna go.
What?
I remember Marie said Star Trek has had an agenda since 1966. Like,
yeah, no, it's a big one. It's a big one. Star Trek has not always done a great job with dealing with that agenda, and has not always done a great job at exploring other parts of what we would consider a more expansive, inclusive agenda, right? Like, I mean, TNG really, really struggled with LGBTQ plus representation. We don't really get it in Deep Space Nine, with the exception of that amazing episode with Dax rejoined.
Well, don't forget the TNG episode with Riker.
I'm getting there.
Okay.
Getting there. We've actually covered that episode before on this channel.
Yeah.
That is, oh my god, it's the Janai episode. What's the title?
Keith ain't here. Keith ain't
I know, but usually I'm okay, but I just can't come up with it. My bad. Wow.
9 o'clock.
Hilarious, but no.
But it was an amazing episode, and I do agree with you, especially, and I think that to the point that Star Trek is a reflection of where we are or where we're kind of going in
the
moving
outcast
society. I really think that it did a great job, in and of itself, trying to at least move the needle and start the conversation.
So I would actually argue that it didn't. And I'll tell you why. Because the point of the outcast was to explore was to have that very special episode, which if you were a child of the 80s and 90s, you know what I'm talking about, was to explore homosexuality as a concept. I don't think they did a great job there. I think they did an amazing job trying to bring up the conversation of transgender. And they don't, and they can't quite get where they need to, because they're not, because the metaphor doesn't quite work. I also think the episode would have been a much stronger episode, and Jonathan Frakes actually makes this point, where it would have been a much stronger episode if they had had a male actor playing his love interest.
Mm.
And they deliberately shied away from that. Some of that was network pressure, some of that was production pressure, yada yada.
And the fact that they wanted the episode to actually air.
Like I said, production pressure. Because we all know where it wouldn't have aired.
Right.
In my hometown. But I think the problem is that the messaging was so confused and the metaphor was so overstretched that it doesn't get where it needs to get. And especially given that we'd already seen how Beverly reacted to a female Odon, TNG just didn't have an effective way to bring up that conversation, which is why Rejoined is so much better. I mean, Deep Space Nine is my favorite, so I'm biased, but I think Rejoined is a much better representation of it because it's this whole conversation about this relationship and these feelings they have. But they kind of get away from it and get away with it because we're talking about what had been a previously straight relationship that was now no longer straight because aliens.
Right.
Right. So, we flash forward 20, 30 years, and it takes 20 or 30 years to get to the point where we can have Culber and Stamets. And even then, I think it's still really interesting that we don't have lesbians until Jet Reno. And Jet Reno is unpartnered.
Dang it, I don't have her
So
photo.
I think we brought up two great intercepts there. One, having a baby to save a marriage, and two, Jet Reno being like the ultimate lesbian of literally having like a canoe in the living room, possibly.
She's got she's got the Starfleet version of a U-Haul. Okay, she does.
Canoe in the living room.
Unfinished.
I am
Yes.
sorry, that was a joke. Hopefully no one found it in poor taste, but
I mean, no. no, because she's got the unfinished canoe in the living room and then a U-Haul parked in the back somewhere.
U-Haul gassed up and ready.
Right? For dates for the second date.
So I don't know which way we want to go. Adira or Jet Reno?
I mean, honestly, you could.
There's Jet Reno right there.
Really?
Yeah, the next one down.
Oh, there we go.
Look,
hey.
This is why I'm here.
This is why I fantastic
that moment
Takataro,
right
who
there is why I made a special trip down to Arkansas to shoot this episode.
I love it.
Just so I can.
We're so grateful that
Reno.
we are so grateful that you
for you, baby.
survived your infamous Uber drive. We're never letting that go.
Honestly,
when I told half of America how to get to my house.
And the internet is forever.
I've been meaning to ask you what happened in the back of that Uber car.
Let's not always listen. I always have interesting Uber rides. I'm just glad that I have above a 4.7 rating.
Above a 4.7?
It is above a 4.7. That's all I'm gonna say.
How long did it take you to get up to 4.7 from where you were last time?
It'll be a shorter time than it
ranked
takes Jet
Uber.
Reno to finish that canoe.
Yes.
Okay.
Hell
Right.
no. I'm not beating the nigga that's on top of the leaderboard. I'm
really struggling with this because I have been I've been watching NCIS reruns because I'm looking for a reason to continue to justify my Paramount Plus subscription. And Gibbs is building a boat.
You just watch Enterprise. You just watch Enterprise like twice, 3 times even.
Oh no, I don't hate my life.
Well, Max.
You tried.
Well,
You
Max,
tried.
is there Do you think there are some LGBTQ references in Enterprise that may have parallels to Discovery?
No,
I don't think not a one.
no, and I will tell you why. Because that is a Berman property through and through. And if it even smelled gay, like he tried really hard not to do it. I mean, there's a certain argument that you could do that you could make a certain argument that there's a level of homoeroticism between Trip and Reed. But
That's my couple right there.
But at the end of the day, though, like, I mean, it's very much a bromance, and they make it very clear that it's a bromance.
So she could be lesbian.
No.
Because
remember, she gets seduced by the psychic alien who is very definitely a dude. Like, he is so much of a dude, he has like phallic projectiles coming off his head.
That was crazy. I don't know what they were on. Ooh,
that was a design choice.
Yeah.
That was a design choice.
And they stand by it. They stand by it.
Excuse me.
So I have pictures from Enterprise right here, actually, and that apparently left from the last LGBTrek we might have done.
Are you about to bring up?
I don't know what I'm going to bring up. I just know that I have pictures of Enterprise. And I think it's like the polyamory one or the one where Chip finds out he's pregnant. I don't know. Like
that's the
the Denoblian one. He should have went for it, honestly.
I mean, Phlox gave him permission, but
absolutely he should have went for it.
But what's interesting about this, and this is why I say this is not especially sexually liberated or whatever, is because we're meant to side with Trip in that episode.
Wrong?
We're meant to side with Trip because that is effectively an episode that is highlighting how alien Phlox is.
Right.
As opposed to how, and there's a reason that it's the good old Southern boy, Charles Trip Tucker the third, right?
The third?
Yeah, bro. There were two great ones before him.
Two great.
Max, calm down.
And it's also played for laughs. It's played for laughs, right? Like, we're supposed to laugh at how, like, the Southern man is uncomfortable by this woman, and he's like, ugh, you know. Props to Connor Trenier, he manages to carry it off without it becoming a target, right? Like, without it becoming a, hey, this is not cool, like, and reacting with fear and disgust. It's more just like Connor Trenier manages to make it. Trip is asserting his boundaries, and this is a boundary for him because this is his culture.
And that's fair.
It is. It 100% is. Again, though, if that whole sequence weren't played as comedic relief for the rest of the episode.
I don't know. When I watched it, I didn't feel it was comedic in any way. That's probably just me, but it's very interesting that that's what their angle was.
Well, I'm just wondering if we think Jet Reno would have went for it. Do you think she would have, if she would have been the love interest? Do you think Jet would have went for it, Max? I think
yes.
Absolutely. She would have dived in there, bro.
I mean, we are given to understand that Jet has a history, and that yes.
To your point, that was presented very well in season 6 when they were showing and starting to explore, like, oh yeah, I was doing a few things on the side as well. But like, if
she's made like one-off comments too. If I remember correctly, she's made one-off comments about, like, well, I had a girlfriend that did blah 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 before we really sort of like explore, not that we ever did, but explore the wife situation.
I don't remember that exactly, but she didn't have as many scenes as she deserved.
No, and that had everything to do with Tig Notaro's schedule. I mean, would legit watch a Jet Reno spinoff. So
I also would.
But
100%.
You know what? Listen, Paramount Plus, CBS, this is where you fell down. This is where Star Trek shorts were supposed to come in.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, no, like, I mean, would I love to see, like, Jet Reno in an episode of The Librarians? Yes. 100% yes. because that's what she was doing with that rare book dealer. But I do want to talk about Jet Reno because she's interesting, right? I do not think it is an accident that we had a gay couple as opposed to a lesbian couple.
How so?
A number of things. One, there's a really odd sort of relationship between, there's an interesting nexus between homophobia and misogyny. There's some pretty good evidence that a lot of homophobia is actually wrapped up in fears about men who are acting like women, right? And so I think there's a lot of that. So we're taking Culber and we're taking Stamets and we're letting them stand in this place, and it's very clear that neither one of them is particularly feminine, right? Like, Stamets is bitchy, but he's not like queen bitchy. You know what I mean?
Hands on hips.
Right? So I think there's a certain implicit misogyny and sexism that's going there. And there's a reason we don't see lesbians. With the exception of Rejoined, like back in Deep Space Nine. And even then, again, that's not, that got away from being like lesbians. It was an echo of a straight relationship. So I think there's a certain amount there, and I think it's important that actually our first lesbian character is unpartnered, because I think showing like a lesbian couple acting the same way that Culber and Stamets did would be a little more transgressive. I mean, think about it.
So do you think that, so I just want to make sure I'm getting a full understanding. So are you saying that in order to portray the characters and the dynamics within a lesbian relationship, they would have had to create kind of double down on the tropes within them? And you think that's
not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
I don't think that's required at all. But I do think that I think with portrayals, but I think there's just such like a pro-male bias in media.
Yes.
That it's much harder to show this relationship that has fuck all to do with a man. Right? Think about it. Think about it for a second. Like, how many representations of gay men do you see on TV?
That are not toxic or not portraying the gay man as
not even saying that. Just like period. Like,
I mean, even then, like all
like a gay.
Maybe not all the time, but maybe like probably like an uncommon thing in there. Maybe like,
now think about that and compare it with the number of lesbians. That are acting as lesbians, because I mean, Kate McKinnon is everywhere, but like, she's frequently cast in either asexual or straight roles.
Okay.
Ellen.
That's interesting.
Ellen.
I mean,
and the L word.
I think you're.
And the L word, but the L word gets away with it because the L word was on Showtime.
Yeah, but I think you're onto something. We also often get like lesbian scenes from,
and they are not lesbian scenes. They are shot for the male gaze.
Yes,
I was about to say,
and that's what I was going to get at. We get a lesbian scene that is not necessarily about the relationship or the connection. It's only sexualizing the actual interaction that they're having and not necessarily exploring the actual love that they have. And now we have to take it back to the early 2000s and talk about the L word for a moment. Marie, can you talk a little bit about the L word and where it intersected with Queer as Folk?
So fun fact, no, I can't. Because I've never actually seen the L word. I did not have Showtime.
I've seen Queer as Folk, the American version.
So I do not have an extensive background of it, but as we all know, like Queer as Folk was the gay version in America, in the US. Queer as Folk was came on HBO. Was it HBO or I think it was HBO.
I
HBO
think it was
Go
HBO.
Max. Thank you.
I think what you're actually looking for as a better example is Queer Eye.
No, I'm thinking Queer as Folk.
No, I understand, but I understand that you're identifying the show that you're talking about. But I think a better touchstone culturally would have been Queer Eye, because Queer Eye was much more like consumed.
I would agree with that. Well, I was more so thinking about the parallels between like the storylines. So the L Word actually had couples, and it actually followed the actual interaction. And was it 4 of them, or 4 or 5? I think it was 4 or 5 women through the actual story. I wasn't like, I didn't watch it, which also again is probably going back to and underscoring Marie's point.
I didn't have Showtime. but also, yeah, like.
Yeah, and so I think it was either 4 or 5 that were like lesbians that were like the main cast members, but I also think one was like struggling with her sexuality and coming out. Yeah, but it only had what, 2? Was it 2 or 3 seasons?
Which one?
It wasn't a lot. It wasn't a lot, and I think I honestly think we're forgetting like a current series, like an older series. But the fact that I can't come up with anything.
Oh my god, it had 6 seasons.
Then I have 5.
The L Word had 6 seasons.
It's a 2004 drama.
I'm looking at it right now.
I'll be honest with you, this is my first time hearing about this show.
Michael, we're old.
And it was a lot more women than I remember. I only remember like 4 or 5. Like, it's a lot more.
But I think there's a point here, right? Like, is that, we've come up with 2 thus far, like 2. And I'm sure there are other shows that we're missing, but like in terms of like a cultural zeitgeist, we see gay men far more often. Will and Grace, Queer Eye, Queer as Folk, RuPaul's Drag Race.
Shout out RuPaul.
Like the fact that Trixie Mattel's entire career.
Drag queen.
Right?
Drag queen.
I'm the queen of
drag. I am the queen of drag.
Right, but we don't talk about we don't talk about drag kings.
We have those?
I have a question.
Yes.
What is a drag king? Because I have two ideas, and I'm pretty sure one of them are his. Okay, so on one hand, I got a straight woman dressing up as a dude, but not necessarily being a tomboy. Like kind of like how drag queens do it, but like the reverse.
Oh,
I have never encountered that.
Okay, so that's the wrong one. Okay.
I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I have just personally never encountered it.
What? That is not a. So it's a dude that's like, what?
I'm thinking it's
Well, let's not just look at the images.
Yes.
Yeah, I need a definition. Like,
do we think that Star Trek will ever have a drag episode? Did we miss an opportunity in Discovery?
Give me the drag queen.
I don't think we missed an opportunity for that in Discovery. I think that is definitely going to be a Strange New Worlds thing, though. I mean, we can have a musical episode. By God, we can have a drag episode.
Male gender stereotypes is part
but I would also like to see I would like to see it done well, and I would like to see it done respectfully.
I think we do have what could be interpreted as a drag episode. You remember when Quark had to switch for a little bit?
Again, it's played for laughs.
Well, you mean like something serious?
Yes, and the closest we actually come, and this I think is interesting. The closest we actually come is the female. I hate saying that. I hate saying that. Who masquerades as a male in order to do business and falls in love with work.
So not a drag king.
Yeah, I mean, she's in drag for sure, and
Move
part of the reason,
on.
but again, part of the reason she gets away with that is that it's
Move
at
on.
least as far as a viewer is that it's okay.
I know what I'm saying. The way you can make the connection.
Okay. We're talking about Mulan.
Evan, she can still hear you over here.
Yeah, I know.
Fair enough. But
Yeah,
but I also think this is the same issue, right? Like, it is okay for a woman to dress up like a man because men aren't lesser. This is turning into a fight the patriarchy episode, but
I mean, I'm here for it. I'm sorry.
But yeah, like if you think about it, right? Like there is it's considered less transgressive for a woman to dress up like a man and masquerade as a man than it is for a man to masquerade as a woman.
So I have after Michael makes this point, I have another interesting one. If you
No, go ahead.
So I think this is like a good segue because you asked like where do we go from here? I kind of want to like go into like, you know, our favorite couples entry to parenthood when they brought Adira into the mix.
I've been trying so hard to avoid them.
Yeah,
Not that I dislike
actually.
Adira. I don't dislike Adira, but like when you talk about Adira, you almost have to talk about Gray.
Yeah, I'm fine avoiding them for the rest of the episode, honestly.
This is where I have my 2 cents. What the hell?
I don't have an answer.
I am on the same channel.
I don't have an answer.
Yeah, look, what
Don't have an
the
answer.
hell? Like I was here for, you know, because I'm thinking, okay, you know, maybe it's a callback to the symbiont, and maybe we may hear the word Dax at some point, you know, but no, and I'm not looking for Dax. I'm not trying to, you know, like take away from any other symbiont or the Chill Society in the 32nd century. But even though they turned out to be the same, almost the same douches they were, almost. I say almost. They kind of lightened up a little bit. But
I mean, they come out smelling better than Earth did.
yeah, absolutely. Earth was just straight up Southern, like just I said it, bro. Now
I said what I said.
I was cool with the introduction of, you know, because I know I have a picture of them. Here we go. Hold on. I'm gonna do here we go. Good morning. And where are you? There we go. All right. What's up, Adira? Well, I was completely cool with, you know, okay, you know, trying to battle the minds, haven't really completely joined all the way until the crew takes them to Trill and then do what they need to do to, you know, get everything in order. Okay. With the Admiral and the memories and everything and all that jazz, because I believe they needed the Admiral's information that was inside Adira's mind to figure out what the heck happened or whatever. I really forgot, to be honest. Something along those lines. I was following the burn, right? I was following that storyline. I'm like, okay, you know what? That's creative. It's different. Let's go along the route. Gray being stuck inside Adira's mind because something happened, some sort of accident, or what happened? Why was Gray there before? Can someone remind me? Or
No, because I blocked that out of my memory.
I thought Gray was always there, no?
No.
Well, I thought Gray was a past symbiont host, and that host's memories, for some reason, were just not necessarily in line.
Right, they didn't get appropriately incorporated into the symbiont. And so they were actually able to pull Gray. So Adira was actually experiencing Gray through the symbiont Tal. But Gray didn't want, there was such a bond between Adira and Gray that Gray wasn't able to let go and slide into the symbiont the way all of the other hosts have. And so, like, he was hanging out in their mind.
Yeah. So great. Okay. Someone, okay. Awesome. Happy for them. Okay. But they didn't throughout the next 2 seasons, I guess. 4. Oh, good lord. They did not flesh anything out. They did what we feared would be the worst and made them the token characters. And I'm gonna sit here and say that because it was just like
that's true of Gray. I don't think that's true of Adira, because
well, I didn't know what
Adira actually gets a coming out episode,
right?
And there are things I don't like about
things.
it.
She also did do things.
She did.
Yeah, she did more than Gray.
They did. My God.
They sorry.
No, that was my bad. I slipped into misgendering. My bad.
The day or the night or whatever the time was that Gray got his body. I mean, in the act of it, I'm happy for him. In the act of it, because I don't want to.
He became so much less interesting once he became corporeal.
Right.
I agree. I don't think they should have done that.
No, like
go put him back in the.
Because I don't want to misconstrue it that hey, because I didn't like the storyline that I have some transphobia or non-binary or anything like that. No, they handled the story the most horrible one of all. Like it was bad enough, and I've said this for years that I feel like Discovery next to season 2 of Picard has the worst character development I've ever seen. But like worst on worst, aside from 3 major characters that go in and out between seasons. I knew Adira and Gray, and they did not land the ship. They did not land the plane.
No, I was so glad when they broke up.
I mean, because
I was like, thank you. I no longer have to watch this painful interaction. Like it worked. I mean, when Adira had Gray in their head and they're kind of wondering about their sanity a little bit, that was great. That was interesting. And Gray also had an actual role, right? Gray had things to do and just to kind of talk to Adira and kind of interact with them.
They really played like the angel on the shoulder role.
Yes.
And it worked very well.
Yes, he did. And then and then he gets a body and he hangs out like on the ship for a while, and it is very clear that it's not working between them.
No. Yeah.
Like very clear that it's not working. And I was really glad finally in season 6 when they finally were like, all right, this isn't working. We will care for each other, but we're in different places. I was relieved for them. Like I was relieved. I was like, yes, that is the right choice. Y'all need to break up.
Would anyone like to see Marie freak out right now?
Oh,
Yes.
They're gonna be going back to Trill in Starfleet.
What?
Academy.
No.
You got me.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, but Adira's got their shit to do. Right? Adira's got their shit. I don't know where they are. I mean, maybe we can have
correctly and acknowledge it was the shitty storyline.
And even if they do come back to Starfleet Academy and they do go with everybody to Trill, there's nothing that says that they have to have an awkward interaction with Gray.
They are going to do another awkward interaction. They're going to go to Trill, and Gray has to be there. Adira.
Is there some news on this? Are you just pulling the shit out?
Yeah, so you're supposed to, bro. Oh. Ooh, thank God. I got fucking worried.
Bro, I'm already.
I can feel everyone's anxiety spike in the room.
Evan has not seen any of this.
Absolutely.
And he just knows that we are just like, ugh. Like, oh my God.
I see the shot on his face.
Honestly, Marie, to your point, I feel like what they did was something that happened all the time in Picard. They pulled out a character and gave them the opportunity to create this great story arc. And then they were like, oh shit, we only have 10 episodes, or we only have 4 episodes left. do we do with it? And then it just goes nowhere, and then they keep trying to incorporate it because they're like, well, we have to keep our source material. So since we have to keep our source material, we have to reference them. And it's like, you all really should have cut off the vestigial organ like 3 episodes ago.
Yeah, no, like it could become cancerous, and it did.
Yes, honestly, you could have sent a deep space comm and be like, Adira, thanks for your time. I'm out of here. Or you could have said, like, to be a guardian, we're not
a dear them letter.
Yes, but guardians aren't allowed to have relationships. And that was part of being a guardian, is like they dedicate their entire life to X, Y, and Z. And so it's like, I thought I could do this, but in order for me to make it to Guardian level 4, I have to let go of you. Thank you.
That's very Vulcan of you right there.
Right. And then it could have been like, and it's like
the troll version of Kolinar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like purge them. But it's
so honestly, I will say this. I think Gray's departure did so much for them, right? Like it gave Adira so much time to develop as a character.
True. And I was also gonna say, and this is for Max as well as you, Maria and William, do you all think that not developing Gray, particularly as an individual who identifies in real life as someone who's transgender, do you think that did a disservice to their character and to the movement of LGBTQ persons in Hollywood?
That's a good question.
Yes and no.
I'm
That's a very lawyer answer, William.
I have learned so much from you.
Hold on, Will. Before you ask the answer, can you say the question one more time? I really want to get it and really think about it. Thank you. Sorry. Thank you.
So Gray's character in real life identifies as someone who is transgender. Do you think their treatment and the character development that we saw from Gray in the actual series actually set back the transgender movement and transgender representation that we need to see in Hollywood?
Okay, well, I'm sorry. I'm going to answer real quick. I don't think that is on them. I think that's more of a direction thing than it is a themselves portraying the character thing. I think
they need to flesh that out.
Okay, I feel like they did as well as they could.
Did they though?
Being a transgender person, I feel like they did as well as they could have done, but you can only do so much without direction.
We have Angel in Strange New Worlds.
I'm not saying.
I don't know who that is.
I'm gonna say, I'm not saying that their acting was bad, or I'm not talking about actual performance here. I'm more so talking about story and kind of actual representation and what that means for the community moving forward. If you think that there was I'm interested. I understand what you're asking, and I'm interested in Max's assertion that they did the best they could. Right. I was wondering if he was talking about acting or the writing.
Yes.
Writing
no, I was talking about acting. Writing, they could have done a lot better, and that's what I mean by direction. I mean, it's on the blame is on the director as well as the writers. Like, the writers did not write very well, and then you can only direct shit as best as you could. So, that's really what I meant by it.
Do not get us canceled, Max.
I'll try my best.
Okay.
So,
yeah,
you go, and then I'll wrap
up. Okay. Well, all right. So the reason I say yes and no in the sense that towards the development as a person in general, most of us, if not all of us, have had that, and it's no tear shade to anyone at all that I love and know. I'm just saying what I've been through and what I've seen other go through in my college days. We had that love relationship where it's like it comes in, we thinks it defines us and may have changed us for the better, something like that. And then they just up and go. And we're like, what happened? We tried the long distance thing. And then they even tried to explore other avenues to try and make their relationship work. I feel like that shows development towards both characters. That's three. That's that. I'm like, all right, that's actually pretty realistic. On the other hand, and I have no problem being corrected, or Marie, check me if I'm wrong. You're in the 32nd century. Do we really need to show you getting a whole new Picard body to be the representation of changing sex? Like, do we really need that? Why don't you just outright do it? You have the technology to painlessly.
Yeah, actually, you're also corporeal. You're
Because
also
he was
corporeal. You don't need
dead?
a body.
Right.
Because he was dead, and so they literally have a conversation about like,
well,
what
I
do
mean,
you, like,
well,
what do
not
you
so
want to
much-
be? And you have, I mean, because I think obviously it's a metaphor,
right. It's a metaphor, definitely. Yeah, like
it's a metaphor, but in universe, it makes sense because Gray is dead, and so he has the opportunity now to basically build his body the way he wants it to be, right? And to make sure that its exterior reflects his interior. And I really liked that they had that as a conversation, and that it
Right.
wasn't taken for granted. Like, I loved the fact that that was a conversation that Culber was like, so awkward combo, but what bits do you want? What makes the most sense to you? And I loved that the show gave Gray the autonomy to choose what his new life was going to be.
right. Happy for Gray. Absolutely. I guess it was just like they took out, kind of like reading a Harry Potter book and they only choose certain parts to put in the movie, right? Like, I guess they had a wider story for these two characters that they just picked out like the highlights and think that it's just that we're just gonna take that. I'm like, hey, nothing against them at all, but I feel like if you're not gonna tell, and no story is perfect, don't get me wrong, but if you're not gonna give justice.
Have you seen Enterprise? Minus we read the word.
I was gonna say Avatar last year.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Okay, never mind. You know what? That just completely. You know what? Never mind. Like, these other words just kind of debunks my whole point. Like,
why? I'm gonna have to show you on the ship where that touched me.
Another person who completely debunks my point is Pulaski. That's why.
Pulaski is mostly bad, but not all.
No, she's not all bad. When she's like,
So, I think
you see what I'm trying to say.
So to Michael's point, I think the emphasis was on Adira, and I think that happened. I think the emphasis being on Adira indicates that Discovery's emphasis is less on, because the transgender community is an umbrella, right? And you have trans folks, but you also have non-binary folks falling under that umbrella, right? Am I close?
Yes.
So rather than focusing on Gray, they were focusing on Adira in terms of story development, and Adira being able to come out as non-binary is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's the first time we've seen that happen. It's, it had been hinted up that entire season that this was coming out, and then she basically, God bless it, I'm tired. I'm killing it, y'all. But they have the opportunity to come out and say, I don't feel like a she, I don't feel like a he. And this is where my tongue tie is coming in. And that's huge, because that is actually not something that we have seen before anywhere.
Very true.
Anywhere. So Adira becomes the first opportunity that an entire swath of the population gets to see themselves and their struggles reflected in media. And if you're on Trek Buck at all, when that episode dropped, there was a huge outpouring, a huge swell of folks on the non-binary spectrum who were just like, this is phenomenal. I'm watching them live my experience. And I've never seen that before. And it means everything to me. Because as we know, representation is so, so important.
Very.
So I think in a certain way, they very much actually like contributed in a positive manner to the movement, despite the fact that I'm apparently incompetent tonight. So my bad.
But I would, if I may, just in analyzing your response, you said they as a unit, not necessarily Gray as themselves.
I'm not talking about Gray at all. I'm talking about Adira.
But I think you
I'm not talking about Gray at all. Like I think because I think actually Gray as a character gets kind of sidelined because I just don't think they had enough time to deal with Gray, and so he gets kind of like shunned off because the focus is on the non-binary portion of the umbrella.
Got it.
That's what I'm saying.
Got it.
And I mean, we've had trans characters in media before, right? Orange is the New Black.
Yeah.
For example, right? Right. We're seeing a lot more discussion of what the trans experience is. Some of it's good, some of it's not so good. Some of it is stupid fighting over bathroom space. We don't have a lot of discussion about the non-binary experience. And so I think Discovery making that decision is incredibly important. Again, I'm not going to speak for the trans community because I am not part of it.
Right.
But I think it's so important to have this representation and basically to force people to grapple with it, right? Like, because all of season, what was it, 3? All of season 3 is kind of Adira chafing under everyone assuming that they are a she. And they're not. And then they have the opportunity to come out to their father figure. And their father figure is like, awesome, I'm going to use they.
Shout out to Star Trek's best new couple.
Right. Right. So I actually think that's really important because I think it gave a voice to individuals that did not have a voice before.
Agreed. And I have to give a shout out to Evan. When you referenced the trans community, he referenced a groundbreaking transgender show with a majority transgender cast, i.e. Pose, which for 3 seasons knocked it out of the park. And so there has been a lot of representation of the trans community. There needs to be a lot more. And I think that this is an opportunity for Star Trek, again, to the points that we've made when we were discussing TNG, as well as some other series, for them to double down and make sure that representation is clearly stated and not in a fun or humorous way, but as
and to that point, I'd like to see a full trans character in Starfleet Academy.
Yeah. And so if we can, I think we're supposed to be wrapping at some point soon. Could I add, I know this is going to be really weird for me.
Bro, it's fine. Whatever.
Like really, really weird. But can I add levity to this conversation?
Who are you and what have you done with Michael?
It's, I'm in the natural state. It's the water. It's the water.
Cleaner.
But no, so I'm like just wondering, can we do like, and I think William actually is the perfect person to do this. Yes, and I think you will be excited about this. I'm just wondering, like, if we can have a conversation on position related to these couples. Do we think that that Stamens and Culver are.
If you ask me to rate anyone, I'm
no. This is more William than anyone. But do we think that they are both fully versed in their marriage, or do we think that what do we think that dynamic?
Ooh.
Yeah,
They're versed.
you think
Stamens is a bottom. There's no way around it.
Oh, Marie says Stamens is a bottom.
Well, yeah, here's the thing. Hold up. Pause.
No, that man.
I got you.
No. That man.
The doctor is definitely verse top, okay, and Stamets is verse bottom.
Okay.
Really? I don't see him as a verse though. Like,
I mean, I feel like, bro, dude came back from the dead. They had to spice it up somehow. Like, I'm just saying, like, if I came back from the dead, I might need you to ram me a new one. Like, I'm just saying, I need you to show me how the pipeline.
I never need to hear any of this ever.
I mean, you volunteered to come on LGBTrek by like
that is so true. That is so true.
I mean, if I came back from the dead, I need you to show me how the plumbing works. Because I'm not gonna know. Clearly, I've fallen out of love with you, so I'm pretty sure that's fallen out of love with you too.
I'm the one that started.
You cannot tell me that the plumbing cares if you're in love or not. No.
Well, it didn't care for them 6 episodes.
because he was dead.
Yeah, he was dead. So
that is a bridge too far for Star Trek. We are not going into that.
I'm just saying it's completely plausible. That's why I think now I will admit for the first half of season 1, yeah, I definitely thought, Colbert was like top and Stamets was bottom, a power bottom even. But I mean, come on. My thing is, if you can take some tubes up your arms and fling a whole ship, I'm pretty sure you know how to take a what. So I mean, I'm just being real. I'm the only reason I won't say is because I feel like Jermaine's gonna cuss me out right after he laughs his ass off. But no. I don't
know. I'm really enjoying watching like how uncomfortable Max and Devin are right now.
Oh no, this is LGBTrek. This is
I came here for a reason, so I can't believe it.
Thank you for shout out to Max for being one awesome ally. Like for real though. Like
cheers to that, man. Cheers to that.
And Evan for being here, even though he hadn't
seen all right, Michael.
He's still Pan, right? He's Pan. Okay, cool. So yeah, sweet. But no, I'm pretty sure. And then come season 5, when the doc had a whole spiritual awakening, swore he was 7 of 9 looking at the Omega particle, he was giving bottom energy.
I disagree. I think finding yourself and trying to find yourself in the void is the antithesis of bottom energy. I actually think that is the antithesis. That is utterly top energy. Like he is looking in Stamets' void to find himself.
I've missed going toe to toe with Maria and LGBTrek and FTP. I've missed this. The
things that come out of my mouth are just not appropriate. It's not.
Let me see. I'm gonna take this back.
All right, you. No. All right, Michael. You get to answer that question now. You posed it. You get to answer.
I honestly was gonna give it. I could see it's a flip flop. I could definitely see them flip flopping, but I definitely think Wilson Cruz is definitely the top in this situation. But I actually, I would be. I love
that you went to Wilson Cruz, not Hugh Culber, by the way.
Oh yeah, well, I was gonna tie him back to his role in Noah's Ark. He was a good bussy flouncy bottom in there. So
yeah, he just has a nice. But you can have a hot body and still be a bottom. Come on.
Well, I mean, all of the ones I know have great bodies. But anyway, but what I do, that's true.
That's horrible. This isn't your community.
But yeah. But no, I really think that
we're traumatizing the children.
Oh, probably. Listen, but they live in America. They're traumatized already.
Amen.
They're black men in America. Yes.
But no, I think I honestly feel like there's that clip of, I can't remember his name, and he's getting roasted. He's like, I'm a power architect for Apple during the day, and then I'm a power bottom for my husband at night. Is the full energy that Stamens is giving throughout the series.
I do not argue. I do not disagree. I have no idea what you're talking about as far as like videos go. But
Oh my
I do
god,
not
I'll have to
disagree.
find the video. It's you're gonna be like, oh, this is hilarious.
I
But
do
yeah,
not
it's like
disagree.
mine-
Like no,
Yeah.
Stamets as a ball gag.
Evan has an opinion.
Oh, Evan has formulated an opinion.
Looking at just straight pictures of them, haha. But looking at pictures of them in general, they look like switches. There's no set role in between those two. They look like
A
switches.
full verse relationship?
Yeah.
A full verse. That's a bit much even for me.
I feel like the black one bottoms like a little bit more, but just
Hell no, that's an obvious top, sir.
I mean, I would love to have the privilege and the honor of doing such a.
well. Then again, I don't know their
tremendous feat.
personalities. I'm only looking at them
like,
appearance wise.
It's Wilson Cruz, but
I mean, Wilson Cruz apparently has not aged. Like that man does not age. Like, can we find his fucking fountain of youth?
We are.
Yeah.
Say it again, Marie.
Hour.
What was that, Marie? Marie?
No, I'm sorry. I was going off of the fact that apparently Wilson Cruz hasn't aged. Like, has anybody checked his attic for a portrait?
He hasn't aged.
I mean, he's gotten
He'll
that.
never age.
I mean, I think he's just painting on the silver fox look.
So is he like half black, half Cuban or something?
I don't know. I just love him. I got
Half black, half
your
man.
discovery. I was able to get a picture with him, and I just melted.
Bro, the way what was it? The one of the doctors that joined him said, "Wow, this guy really works out." I'm going like, bro.
Right.
Why did not, bro? First of all, I was low-key. Okay, I have one thing to say towards his body type. I was mad that we didn't get to see it. How come we got to see Booker's body before Culber's? I'm confused.
Because we finally fucking had a moment for the female gaze.
Your response, William.
Valid.
It wasn't just for the female gaze.
It was for the gays.
What is the gentleman with like that's gone incredibly viral on TikTok with like the pink and whatever, and he's like the girls, the gays.
The girls, the gays, and the theys.
Yes.
I haven't seen this. You find that clip, I'll find the other clip.
Fair.
And the other thing that I was kind of
dude, this guy is bananas. He is off. I assume he identifies as male. I probably shouldn't, but like
during the fight scene when which one was escaping? It was season 5. During the fight scene where Culber was actually fighting. And was it Maul? The girl. She was leaving.
Maul was the female, but that was season 6.
That's season 6.
Season 5.
We're all tired.
Yeah. They only have 5 seasons. Oh, bless you.
Is it 5?
So anyway, the point is, yes, it's only 5.
Holy crap! Whatever that last season was.
So Colbert was actually fighting. Okay.
Yeah, when they're on
And I was kind of
the
expecting,
green ship. Yeah.
No. This is like in sick bay when Maul was.
When was Colbert fighting? I don't remember.
Right. When Maul, basically when Locke unalives himself, and man, I just can't avoid saying the wrong word today. Like I'm killing it.
And so there was an interesting fight scene, which I'm glad to see. Other than Crusher being a badass at the Enterprise D. But basically, I'm like, okay, Colbert, you can fight, bro. I'm sitting here going like, you freaking ripped. I expect you to do something, and he still got his ass handed to him. So I was kind of mad about that.
That has nothing to do with like how ripped or not Culber is. That has everything to do with the demonstration of the fact that like Maul is legitimately just that good. And that was
right.
And that was actually the point of that. And we got to give Maul some utility because she has nothing else.
Well, yeah.
She certainly doesn't have her husband.
That's true. And nothing against her at all. I guess I was kind of like expecting, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm biased.
And she certainly doesn't have emotional maturity either.
Not at all.
Dude is like, his body is so perfect.
Oh my goodness.
My life isn't
We will
worth
not sit here
living
and
without
fawn.
you.
We will not fawn.
Ripped. He was more ripped than The Rock was beating 7 of 9 in Voyager. Like, he was ripped. Like,
So key takeaways from this episode. CBS Paramount Plus, please release those red pajamas. Please redo Star Trek shorts and give Tig Notaro.
send me Cobra's uniform. I just want the uniform.
Please redo Star Trek shorts. Give Tig Notaro the 2 episodes from Star Trek shorts so we can see how big that canoe is in her living room. And is there anything else?
We need to
Marie
see,
and I need to...
we need to see her.
I have one more thing to say.
collection of like power tools.
Oh yes, her power tool collection. But Max, go.
To end this off, I just want to say, give Zora a lesbian android baddie. Thank you and good night.
I don't think that's a good night. Like, no, because if we have to, we'll cut this and we'll have this as a short. The fuck?
I knew Marie wasn't going. I knew Marie wasn't going for that. Like,
the fuck?
All right, bisexual, alien, android. baddie.
No. I am so done with bi equals evil. Like, fuck that noise. I'm done. I'm done with
Zora
it. That
was-
was 90s track. We are
talking
not
about
going there.
The Discovery computer?
Yes.
She's
Yes.
not evil.
Yeah.
She's not evil, right? She's not.
No. He wants to give her an evil, like he wants to give an evil opponent, right? Like, am I understanding?
No, I want to give her a android baddie. Thank you and good night.
He just gave you a reason. Your next episode of Fight the Patriarchy.
You're cooked, bud.
I think
Maxwell,
that
you have no idea how much danger you're in.
But if we're gonna
What's wrong with
bring back the shorts, can we bring back Aldous Hodge?
Yes.
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 You have to tell him who Eldris Hodge is.
Kraft.
Kraft.
Huh?
He has 2 names.
Gosh. Let's.
No,
guys,
Aldous Hodge is the name of the actor. Like everybody knows him from Leverage.
Okay. We're also already 10 minutes over, guys.
All right.
We're gonna get in trouble.
Thank you and good night.
Thank you. Good night. Wait, Jason, on a scale of 1 to 10, how serious are you being right now? I gotta know.
I'm serious, dude. You got
Like 10 out of 10 serious, or picking on Michael serious? Which one?
There is no temperature in space. It's not cold.
What are you serious?
Okay, wait.
Who is? Oh dear God! It just got
because you
better.
said his name.
Welcome to the party, Michael.
No, that is not how we're going to end the episode because Keith
No.
actually has like a legitimate news update. He knows shit, and we should possibly like convey that knowledge.
That's my favorite line. He knows shit.
It's just like a black and red mound. It's like.
Why are you describing yourself?
What the hell?
Hello from Manny.
Hey, Virgil.
Hey.
Hey, Virgil.
Welcome.
Hello, Virgil. Welcome. Who are you?
Who?